When most people think of apex predators, they think of animals that are a constant threat to human life. Sharks, crocodiles, big cats, and bears dominate the headlines whenever there's a fatal attack, and popular media has convinced us that the natural world is full of animals waiting to hunt us down. But the reality is that the vast majority of the world's top predators have absolutely no interest in hunting us. Some of them are more than capable of killing a person, and yet they choose not to, sometimes even when they have the opportunity. In today's video, we'll be looking at 5 apex predators that have never been known to hunt humans, and we'll be exploring why these formidable animals leave us alone. To find our first predator, we'll be heading over to Africa and the Middle East. The cheetah is the fastest land animal on the planet, capable of reaching speeds of up to 120 kilometers per hour in short bursts, and it has a set of adaptations that make it one of the most specialized hunters in the world. Its lightweight frame, long legs, deep chest, and semi-retractable claws give it explosive acceleration that no other land animal can match. In a sprint, a cheetah can cover 3 full strides per second, and each stride can span over 7 meters. They have enlarged nasal passages to take in more oxygen during a chase, and their oversized heart and lungs help to pump blood to their muscles at an extraordinary rate. By all measures, the cheetah is a killing machine designed for speed. And yet, despite living alongside humans for thousands of years across Africa and parts of the Middle East, they have almost never attacked a person. There are no confirmed fatal cheetah attacks on adult humans in the wild in modern recorded history. This is a staggering statistic when you consider that cheetahs share their habitat with millions of people across sub-Saharan Africa, and that encounters between the two species are relatively common. The reason for this peaceful coexistence comes down to a combination of factors, but the most important one is the cheetah's physiology. Everything about the cheetah's body has been sacrificed for speed, and this includes its strength. Compared to other big cats, the cheetah is lightly built, with a maximum weight of only around 72 kilograms. Its jaw is smaller and weaker than those of leopards and lions, and its claws are blunt, more like a dog's than a cat's. This means that even if a cheetah wanted to attack a person, it would struggle to do so effectively, and any injury it sustained in the process could be career-ending. A cheetah that injures a leg or a paw during a fight can no longer hunt at full speed, and a cheetah that can't run is a cheetah that starves. This fragility has also shaped the cheetah's temperament. They are among the most timid of all the big cats, and their first instinct when they encounter something unfamiliar is to flee rather than fight. In the wild, cheetahs routinely lose their kills to lions, leopards, hyenas, and even vultures because they simply can't afford to fight for their food. A confrontation with a larger predator could result in an injury that would be fatal in the long run, so they give up their meals and hunt again. This same logic applies to their interactions with humans. We are too large, too unpredictable, and too risky to be worth engaging with. There have been a handful of incidents involving cheetahs in captive or semi-captive settings, such as wildlife parks where tourists can interact with them, but these have been minor scratches and nips rather than genuine predatory attacks. In the wild, cheetahs will sometimes approach vehicles on safari out of curiosity, and there have been cases where they've jumped onto the roofs of Land Rovers, but these encounters are driven by curiosity rather than aggression. The cheetah's avoidance of humans is even more remarkable when you consider how much trouble the species is in. There are only an estimated 7,000 cheetahs left in the wild, and they have lost around 91% of their historic range. In Iran, the Asiatic cheetah is critically endangered with possibly fewer than 50 individuals remaining, making it one of the rarest big cats on Earth. Across Africa, cheetahs are squeezed into increasingly small areas alongside growing human populations, and yet they continue to pose almost no threat to the people they share the landscape with. If anything, the biggest danger in the cheetah-human relationship runs overwhelmingly in the opposite direction, as farmers sometimes kill cheetahs to protect their livestock, and habitat loss continues to push them toward extinction. Historically, the relationship between cheetahs and humans has actually been closer than most people realize. Ancient Egyptians, Persians, and Indian royalty kept cheetahs as hunting companions, and the animals were prized for their speed and their cooperative temperament. Unlike lions or tigers, which are almost impossible to tame and always retain their dangerous instincts, Cheetahs adapted relatively well to living alongside humans, and some historical accounts describe them being led on leashes and riding on horseback behind their owners before being released to chase down gazelles. This history of cooperation further illustrates just how non-threatening cheetahs are towards people, and it makes their current decline all the more tragic. An animal that chose to work with us for thousands of years is now disappearing because of us. The cheetah takes the fifth-place spot, and it's a reminder that speed doesn't always equal aggression. For our next section, we'll be heading over to South America, as we'll be taking a closer look at one of the most social predators in the world. The giant river otter is the longest otter species in the world, with some individuals reaching lengths of up to 1.8 meters. And in the rivers and lakes of South America, it sits at the very top of the food chain. These mammals are found across the Amazon basin, the Pantanal, and other major wetland systems, and they share their habitat with some genuinely terrifying animals. Black caiman, jaguars, anacondas, piranhas, and bull sharks are all present in the same waterways, and yet the giant river otter thrives alongside all of them. They do this through a combination of intelligence, teamwork, and a level of ferocity that belies their playful appearance. Giant river otters live in family groups of up to 20 individuals, and they hunt cooperatively, using coordinated dives and vocal communication to corral fish into shallow water. They can consume up to 4 kilograms of fish per day, and they are equipped with powerful jaws and sharp teeth that can make quick work of even large fish. But it's when they face other predators that their true nature emerges. Giant river otters have been documented mobbing and driving off black caiman, harassing jaguars until the big cats retreat, and working together to attack and kill large spectacled caiman. There are even videos of otter families charging at jaguars from the water, screaming and lunging until the most powerful cat in the Americas decides that it's simply not worth the hassle. If you've ever watched footage of giant river otters in action, you'll know that their high-pitched screams and aggressive posturing can be genuinely intimidating, even through a screen. Given all of this aggression and capability, you might expect giant river otters to occasionally attack humans. But they almost never do. In the wild, giant river otters are extremely wary of people, and their first reaction to a human presence is usually to make a lot of noise and then retreat. They have excellent eyesight and hearing, which means they usually detect people long before people detect them. There have been a very small number of incidents where wild giant river otters have nipped or bitten researchers who got too close, and a few captive individuals have bitten their handlers, but there are no recorded cases of a wild giant river otter seriously injuring or killing a human. The reasons for this are partly practical and partly cultural. Giant river otters are intelligent enough to distinguish between genuine threats and animals that aren't worth fighting. Humans don't compete with them for fish in the same way that caiman do, and we don't prey on their young the way jaguars sometimes do. We are simply not part of their ecological equation. Their aggression is highly targeted and strategic. They don't attack everything that moves. They attack specific animals that pose a direct threat to their family group or their food supply, and they leave everything else alone. This kind of selective aggression is a sign of high intelligence, and it's one of the things that makes giant river otters so fascinating to study. There's also the unfortunate reality that giant river otters have been heavily persecuted by humans over the past century, with hunting for their pelts driving them to the brink of extinction by the 1970s. Their fur is extremely dense and was highly valued in the international fur trade, and at one point, populations across the Amazon were reduced to dangerously low levels. This persecution may have reinforced a deep wariness of humans that persists even today, as the otters that survived the fur trade were the ones that stayed as far away from people as possible. It's a tragic irony that one of the few apex predators that has never hunted us came so close to being wiped out by us. Today, there are only an estimated 5,000 giant river otters left in the wild, and they are listed as endangered. Conservation efforts have helped some populations recover, but they remain one of the rarest mammals in South America. The giant river otter takes the 4th place spot. And for our next section, we'll be heading to the mountains of Central Asia. The snow leopard is one of the most elusive and beautiful big cats in the world, and it has earned the nickname the Ghost of the Mountains for its ability to vanish into the rocky, snow-covered landscapes of Central Asia. They are found across the high-altitude mountain ranges of 12 countries, from Afghanistan and Pakistan through the Himalayas and into Mongolia and Russia, and they are perfectly adapted to life at elevations of up to 5,500 meters. Their thick, smoky gray fur provides insulation against temperatures that can drop well below minus 30 degrees Celsius, and their enormous paws act like natural snowshoes, distributing their weight across soft snow. Their long, thick tails serve as both a counterbalance when navigating steep, rocky terrain and as a blanket that they wrap around their faces while sleeping. Despite their size, with males reaching weights of up to 75 kilograms, snow leopards are remarkably gentle animals by big cat standards. There are virtually no confirmed cases of a snow leopard attacking a human in the wild. When you consider that other big cats such as tigers, lions, and leopards collectively kill hundreds of people each year, the snow leopard's record is nothing short of extraordinary. The few incidents that have been documented almost always involve snow leopards that were cornered, trapped, or defending themselves against herders who were trying to protect their livestock. In these cases, the snow leopards were acting out of self-defense rather than predatory aggression. There are several theories as to why snow leopards are so peaceful towards humans. The most common explanation is that they evolved in environments where they rarely encountered people, and because they never had to compete with humans for food or territory, they never developed aggressive behaviors towards us. Their primary prey consists of baral, also known as blue sheep, as well as ibex, marmots, and hares, none of which bring them into direct competition with human hunters. They are also solitary and secretive by nature, preferring to avoid confrontation with anything that could pose a risk. In the rare cases where a snow leopard encounters a human in the wild, the cat almost always retreats long before the person even knows it was there. Researchers who study snow leopards often spend months in the field without ever seeing one, despite finding fresh tracks and kill sites on a daily basis. The cats seem to have an almost supernatural ability to detect human presence and melt into the landscape before they can be spotted. There's also something about the snow leopard's temperament that seems fundamentally different from other big cats. Even in captivity, where many large predators become more aggressive over time, snow leopards tend to remain relatively calm and unaggressive towards their keepers. They are not known for the kind of sudden, explosive attacks that have made captive tigers and lions so dangerous. This isn't to say that they couldn't be dangerous if they chose to be. A 75-kilogram cat with powerful jaws and razor-sharp claws is always capable of inflicting serious damage. But everything about their behavior suggests that aggression towards large animals, including humans, is simply not in their nature. This peaceful nature has actually made conservation efforts slightly easier in some areas, as local communities are more willing to coexist with an animal that doesn't threaten their families. The main conflict between snow leopards and humans is over livestock, as the cats will sometimes kill sheep and goats in areas where their natural prey has been depleted. But even in these cases, retaliatory killings are becoming less common as conservation organizations work with herders to develop livestock insurance programs and predator-proof enclosures. There are only an estimated 4,000 to 6,500 snow leopards remaining in the wild, and their survival depends on maintaining this fragile peace between cats and communities. The snow leopard takes the third-place spot. And for our next section, we'll be heading back to the rainforests of Central and South America. The harpy eagle is the most powerful eagle in the Americas, and it's one of the largest birds of prey in the world. They can reach weights of up to 9 kilograms, and their talons are the largest of any living eagle, measuring up to 13 centimeters long, which is roughly the same length as the claws of a grizzly bear. These talons can exert several hundred pounds of pressure, enough to crush the bones of their prey on impact. They use this incredible weaponry to hunt monkeys and sloths in the canopy of tropical rainforests, snatching them from the treetops with precision and power that few other birds can match. Studies have shown that harpy eagles will target over 100 different species, and some of the animals they hunt can weigh as much as 10 kilograms, which is more than the eagle itself. Given the size of their talons and the force behind their strikes, a harpy eagle could certainly injure a human if it wanted to. And yet, attacks on people are essentially unheard of. There have been a tiny number of incidents where harpy eagles have attacked researchers who ventured too close to their nests. But these were defensive actions rather than predatory ones, and they are extremely rare. In communities that live within the harpy eagle's range, people generally have little to fear from these birds, and in many indigenous cultures, the harpy eagle is revered rather than feared. The reason harpy eagles don't target humans is straightforward. Their hunting strategy is built entirely around catching prey in the forest canopy. They perch silently on a branch for hours, sometimes days, scanning the treetops for movement before launching a short, explosive attack. They are ambush predators of the upper canopy, and humans simply don't exist in that world. We spend our time on the ground, moving through cleared paths and open areas, and we are far too large and far too terrestrial for a harpy eagle to even consider as prey. Their entire evolutionary history has been shaped around catching medium-sized mammals in trees, and nothing about a human walking through the forest triggers their predatory instincts. There's also the issue of size. Even though harpy eagles are enormous by bird standards, they are still limited by the constraints of flight. A bird that weighs 9 kilograms can carry prey of roughly similar weight, but it can't fly off with a 70-kilogram human. And unlike ground-based predators that can wrestle and overpower larger animals, a harpy eagle's killing strategy relies on the element of surprise and the ability to carry its prey away to a safe feeding perch. A human is simply too big, too heavy, and too earthbound to be viable prey. Even if a harpy eagle did somehow decide to attack a person, it wouldn't have a strategy for what to do next. It can't carry us, it can't drag us, and it can't consume us on the ground where it would be vulnerable to other predators. The entire equation simply doesn't work from the eagle's perspective. What makes this peaceful coexistence even more interesting is the fact that harpy eagles are remarkably tolerant of humans in some areas. In parts of Panama and Brazil, researchers have been able to set up observation platforms near active harpy eagle nests, and the birds have shown surprisingly little concern about the human presence below them. Some pairs have even continued to breed and raise chicks with researchers watching from just a few dozen meters away. This tolerance has been invaluable for conservation research, as it allows scientists to study their breeding behavior and monitor chick development without causing the birds to abandon their nests. Tragically, harpy eagles are declining across much of their range due to deforestation, as they require vast areas of undisturbed primary forest to survive. A single breeding pair may need a territory of up to 100 square kilometers of unbroken canopy, and as the Amazon and Central American forests continue to shrink, so do their numbers. The harpy eagle takes the second-place spot. And for our final section, we'll be heading out into the open ocean to look at the most powerful predator on the planet. The orca is the undisputed apex predator of the world's oceans, and it's not even particularly close. These magnificent cetaceans will hunt great white sharks, blue whales, sperm whales, and pretty much anything else that swims. Different populations have developed specialized hunting techniques that are passed down through generations, from the wave-washing methods used to dislodge seals from ice floes in Antarctica to the carousel feeding technique used to herd herring into tight balls in Norway. Some populations have even learned to beach themselves temporarily to snatch sea lions from the shore, which is one of the most dramatic hunting behaviors in the entire animal kingdom. A fully grown male orca can reach lengths of over 9 meters and weigh up to 6 metric tons, and they have one of the largest brains of any animal on Earth. Given their size, intelligence, and hunting prowess, the fact that orcas have never killed a human in the wild is one of the most remarkable statistics in the natural world. There have been a handful of non-fatal incidents over the years, including a surfer who was bitten in the 1970s and a few cases where orcas have bumped or nudged swimmers and kayakers. But there is not a single confirmed fatal attack on a human in the wild in all of recorded history. This is in stark contrast to their behavior in captivity, where orcas have killed 4 people and injured dozens more, most infamously in the incidents involving a captive orca at a marine park in Florida. The difference between their behavior in the wild and in captivity tells us a lot about what captivity does to these intelligent social animals, and it's one of the strongest arguments against keeping them in marine parks. So why don't wild orcas hunt us? This is a question that has fascinated marine biologists for decades, and there are several theories. The most popular explanation is that orcas are culturally driven hunters, meaning that they only eat what their mothers taught them to eat. Different orca populations, known as ecotypes, have vastly different diets. Some eat only salmon, others specialize in marine mammals, others eat sharks, and none of them eat humans. Because orcas learn their hunting behavior from their family groups, and because no orca family has ever included humans in their diet, there is no cultural tradition of hunting us. An orca encountering a human in the water may be curious, but it has no learned behavior telling it that humans are food. Another theory is that orcas are simply too intelligent to bother with us. Humans are bony, relatively small, and not particularly nutritious compared to a blubbery seal or a fat-rich salmon. A pod of orcas that spent energy hunting humans would be wasting calories on a suboptimal food source. And for an animal that needs to consume up to 100 kilograms of food per day, efficiency matters. There's also the possibility that orcas recognize that we are something different from their usual prey, and their intelligence allows them to make that distinction in a way that less cognitively advanced predators cannot. Some researchers have suggested that orcas may even recognize individual humans, as they have demonstrated the ability to recognize individual members of other species in controlled studies. If they can tell individual salmon apart by their size and fat content, which some evidence suggests they can, then distinguishing a human from a seal would be trivially easy for an animal with their cognitive abilities. Whatever the reason, the orca's peaceful relationship with humans in the wild stands as one of the great mysteries of the natural world. We are sharing the ocean with an animal that could kill us effortlessly, and it consistently chooses not to. In recent years, orcas along the Iberian Peninsula made international headlines when they began ramming and sinking sailboats. But even during these encounters, they never harmed a single person, even when people fell into the water right next to them. Most experts believe those interactions were playful or social behavior rather than aggression, and once one of the older orcas started doing it, the younger ones simply copied. It was a trend, not a hunt. The orca easily takes the first-place spot, and it's a humbling reminder that the ocean's most powerful predator has decided, for reasons we still don't fully understand, to leave us alone. We can count ourselves very lucky that this is the case, because if orcas ever change their minds, there would be very little we could do about it. Of course, there are a few other apex predators that could have made this list, and I'm sure some of you will have suggestions for animals that I've missed. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, then feel free to let me know down below. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.